Annul thyself, that only God may be. This is the instruction Savitri is receiving from the highest source of her being. Savitri has already discovered her soul. The Divine Shakti is already seated in her soul. She now receives another set of detailed instructions. The moment Savitri discovered her soul and established in it the Divine Shakti, there was the formless dread that was invading her. Dread whose darkness was heavier than the darkness of the night. The dread whose darkness night could not bear. Savitri, as if by her spiritual attainments, was claiming a crown of separate birth, that she was somebody different, somebody unique, somebody apart from others, as if she had a very special kind of a birth. But then death, Kali, Maya were showing to her their frightening faces, and Savitri had to meet a new challenge before she could proceed further. It is at this point of realization that she hears this command, annul thyself, that only God may be. It was the voice of the negating absolute which was threatening her, and that had to be overpowered. And Savitri hears a greater voice, and it is that voice which is guiding her now in a future spiritual pursuit. Basically, what she has to realize first is the bare reality of God, God alone and nothing else. She is nothing and none. It is that kind of an experience Savitri must have before she can really get the power to conquer death eventually. She has to consent to be nothing. She has to be consent to none. This is a very unique spiritual siddhi which perhaps none has attained, none has realized in the entire spiritual history. There is the realization of nirvana by Buddha. It is that kind of nirvana Savitri has to attain, and in that sense, Buddha's work precedes the work of Savitri. But Savitri has to go a little further than that. Nirvana, in her case, would mean existence of nothing, not only of this inconscient creation, of this blemished world of ignorance, death, suffering, but also of the worlds of gods, of all the stages of manifestation of self. Nothing has to exist, not even perhaps Satchidananda. It has to go even beyond that. And what should remain should be only the all positive, non-manifest supreme, beyond transcendent, beyond the cosmic manifestation, beyond she as an individual, she has to reach the absolute of the reality and be one with it. Except her own being, nothing would exist there at all, you see. In fact, she should get in that whole process formless liberation. Not only liberation from her form, but also the formless liberation she has to attain. Savitri, in that sense, has a series of experiences when she begins with self-annulment. That is a self-annulment, removing everything from this creation, from her being. She has the experience of being the all or the Supreme. She has oneness with the Supreme. She has the experience of being all of the Supreme, and the entire manifestation and all things, they are hers. But even beyond that she has to go. The world of reality ceases to be. The world of unreality ceases to be. She goes into nirvana and just becomes a violet line of nothingness. Savitri becomes a violet line of nothingness. And then she finds herself back into this creation. She would have been lost into that absolute. It would have been laya of her individuality, totally getting out of this creation for which there is no way from out of it there is no way of coming back to this creation at all, you see. In that process, Savitri's task would have remained undone. The purpose for which she had taken rebirth would not have been fulfilled had she got totally lost in that supreme nirvanic state. But the ancient mother, the soul of the earth, would not allow Savitri to disappear into that state. She clutches her child back. Savitri has a work to do here. How can she disappear? She clutches her child back out of the nothingness. And the moment she comes back, when Savitri comes back, there is a sudden change in all the surroundings. The trees, the forest, the sages of the forest suddenly experience a new kind of spiritual power working everywhere. And that is what Savitri has done after that total annulment of herself. Annul thyself, that only God may be. This is a necessary condition, that you are totally cut off. You are totally away, dissociated from this creation, so that God only be. When it is that state, when Savitri is in that state, then she can really recognize the will of God working in her. And it is in that will of God she will carry out her work. Annul thyself, that only God may be. That is the beautiful experience Savitri is having.